Welcome, everyone, to the Scaling Smart podcast, where we bring together industry leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators to discuss key insights, strategies, and their experiences that have driven success both for themselves and their customers. I'm Billy Mitchell, your host, and today I'm excited to introduce a special guest, Joe Fontana, which I just learned how to pronounce his name, founding VP of Sales, which I also just figured out what that title is, of Dex2Go, which is a company of many names, which is also an AI-powered sales coaching platform that delivers real-time, personalized role plays and feedback. It's rooted in psychographic and behavioral analytics to help B2B teams navigate complex buying cycles and close deals faster. Definitely something I'm excited to chat about because that's exactly where I play. Joe, it's nice to meet you. I'm looking forward to this chat. How are you today?
I am doing great. I am doing great. You want to start with me or start with you? I'd love to learn a little bit more about all this great stuff you were just talking about.
Man, we've got a lot to talk about, and just in our pre-call prep, I think it's going to be a fun one. So I will remind you as well as everybody else, we are here chatting about both three different categories. One, I want to learn about you and your organization, which the more I'm learning, the more excited I get because I think I could use it. Number two, I want to learn about your ideal client profile as well as your industry. So you could be thinking kind of where's it going in the next 3 to 5 years with the advancements the way they are, maybe 1 to 2 to 3 years, and then growth and scale, right? It's kind of the bread and butter of why we're here. So with that, I'd love just to kind of to get us started. Let's do a little bit of an elevator pitch. Give me the 90-second, 2-minute overview of Dex2Go.
As you said, we are an AI enabled sales coach. Unlike a lot of organizations that have been in market for a minute that are claiming to do the same things, we are the only model that's actually been trained by sellers. Um, and I'm not saying that as some snake oil pitch. Do the research on the organizations out there. Great models trained by engineers. As of today, we've got better than 200 plus years trained into the model. So it's truly agnostic. Doesn't care what you're selling, it doesn't care who you're selling it to, any sales methodology that you might employ as part of your selling. It doesn't care about your sales process. It doesn't care about your sales cycle. It is designed to give you as many at bats with as realistic a picture of your actual prospect as possible. So there's no, hey, here's the persona of the person you're going to be on tomorrow. So just like we're using AI on the LMS, we're using AI on the prospect, finding if we can their disc profile, their big five profile, being able to sort through and sift through their social media content to provide that rep with as realistic a prep as possible.
Very cool.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Here we are.
I
Let's do
love
it,
it.
Friday.
Yeah. I'm excited to dive deeper into it. Before we get there, look at this. You're a closer. I can tell.
Got
Always
the
be
coffee
closing.
going.
Yeah, copies for closers. I can tell
Shout
this.
down to Southdown Coffee in Port Jefferson, New York.
Let's
This
go.
started out as an espresso slush. I'm I'm
You've been
bouncing off the
nursing
walls.
that for a
I'm
while, I feel
literally,
like.
yeah, it's all iced out now. I forgot I had it for a couple of minutes because like one sip gets you bouncing off the walls.
Yeah.
I'm literally strapped down to my own chair right now because I don't think anybody needs to see me dancing on a podcast. Wouldn't be the
Hey,
first time, but nobody needs to see it.
if it happens, it's great for clickbait, so it's okay. Don't worry about it.
There you go. I mean, if it'll
Yeah.
help.
Well, I'm excited to chat more about the organization, but I want to hear about you. How'd you get to where you're at, and tell me kind of the path and the journey that Joe is on.
Yeah, of course. So I have been selling now. I'm flirting with 50. Been selling for 35 years. Started out as a 15-year-old as an assistant in a relative's brokerage firm, learning a lot of the ropes. My first sales job was selling Disney books door to door.
Cool.
Uh, um, Funny story there. My buddy and I were sifting through dumpsters and came across a dumpster that was full of these Disney books, like hard cover. They were like coffee table books of old cells of the Disney cartoons.
Wow.
So you could take the boy out of Brooklyn, but you can't take the Brooklyn out of the boy. I was like, let's get that out of there. We went door to door. Two 15-year-olds walking around with pockets full of Benjamins. My mother thought I stole it all. Um, Not that she didn't say that without cause.
Yeah.
But my first dive into sales after that was financial services, early 90s. So it was the wild,
Wild
wild
time.
west of
Yeah.
one call closes.
Yep.
Like you can make yourself a millionaire over the course of a month if you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
And I knew what I was doing. I was able to do that successfully for a minute without so much as anybody sniffing into what I was doing. So unlike, the Wolf of Wall Streets and all those con men, I built my practice the right way. So much so that guys would come to me and ask me to train their new stockbrokers.
Wow. Very cool.
Like, hey man, I see what you guys are doing. All your guys got their game on. They all passed the test the first time. They all do it in 30 days. When they come back, they're selling on the first day. Sure, I'm happy to do it for you. This is how much it'll cost. And this was right at the foray of the internet. So you still needed the newspapers. If you weren't in front of a Quotron, and you'll tell how old your audience is if they know what that term is. If you were in front of a Quotron, you didn't know what was going on with any of your investments. So
Yep.
there came a day where I was like, okay, I'm training 30 guys, 5 grand a piece, a month. Why do I even give two squirts about Wall Street and having two phones in my room when I go on vacation and make sure I
Oh
get
gosh.
6 newspapers delivered at my door for 500 clients to lose their kazoo when a stock is down a half a point?
Mm.
So I built up a business, first starting training the brokerage side of it, then training the distribution side of it and building out sales teams. Um, then transitioned into tech. It's too long of a story today, but I could tell you another time my first foray into tech. That's a great story. Um, and then just started building sales orgs out for companies regardless of their size, regardless of what they were selling. I did that up until about 2012. Thought I was young enough to retire. My ex-wife had just had our son, so I was a stay-at-home dad for a few years. One day, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go enjoy myself. I opened a nice bottle of wine, I took out the rare cigar. Hour later, I was watching The Cat in the Hat still. So I was like, you know what, I need to go out and start adulting properly. And started doing what I had done for my company before I sold it, freelance. Come in, sell your product, scale it out, move on to the next one. About a year and a half ago, I think the same way you and I connected over an organic chat on LinkedIn, I had met my CEO. She was building out this tool. I've got an illustrious career of breaking sales tools, everything from version 1.5 of sales. Oh my God, how am I finding Salesforce in
Hmm.
1999 to everything in between. So 20 minutes later, as Dex2Go tool had smoke coming out of my computer, we start to build it properly. And since then, we've brought to market a tool that can prepare anybody for the next conversation that they're about to have, regardless of where it is in their sales cycle, regardless of what it is that they're selling, sales pitch, yada, yada, yada. And here we are. Somebody that loves selling, loves coaching, loves training teams. My Fridays in between podcasts that I do around coaching and trying to stay awake, I do a ton of free sales coaching. So if
Cool.
anybody in your audience doesn't believe what their sales manager is saying to them or wants an unbiased opinion because they've got no skin in the game from somebody that has seen everything they've ever encountered, I'm the Ted Lasso of sales. You can find me on LinkedIn. My telephone number is probably in the bathroom of your local bar anyway, and I'm always happy to help.
You're always down for a good time, huh? That sounds
Yeah,
like a
when it comes
good,
to
good
sales, I'm down to clown. I love helping
there you
young
go.
guys because I started in an environment, and the only reason I got as good as I got was a total stranger working in those bullpens of
Yeah.
400 brokers would be like, Fontana, stop.
Mm.
Say this instead of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he goes, I know what he said. Did he say this? Yeah, say this instead of that.
Yeah.
Try this. Do this approach. It's not about this. It's about that. It's not about fucking banging out, pardon my language, not about banging out 500 dials. It's about banging out the right dials to the right people at the right time.
Yep.
Why are you calling the doctor at noon? You call that guy at 8 o'clock at night when he's getting home and he's just had his first cocktail. What do you mean 8 o'clock at night? Yeah, 8 o'clock at night. Us real brokers, we're here till midnight. We're calling Hawaii 12 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm willing for any young blood that's making an investment in themselves, that in their mind calls themselves the CEO of their own role. I'll help you anytime.
it's
The only
good.
rule I have is you pay it forward.
I love that. There's a lot to dive into, and one of the ones I want to go back to is how you started selling Disney books and stuff. I I grew up in Oregon, other side of the states than you, and we when I was 9, maybe 10, across the street was an orchard, acorn, I think it was acorns. And so my buddy and I, we would take our wagon across the street and we'd fill up brown paper bags with acorns, and then we'd go door to door selling these things for like 3, 4, $5 a bag. And my mom, she goes, what are you doing? And I said, we're selling acorns. And she said, where did you get those? And I said, the orchard across the street. She goes, you're stealing those going and selling them. And I was like, what do you mean we're stealing? They were on the ground. She's like, "No." Oh my gosh. So that was my first lesson in theft as well as sales. And then, yeah, I think that
Remember, Billy, it's not a crime till you get caught.
that's a good point. That's a good point. And I
Tell my
think I
mother
may
that.
have
It's
just
not a crime
admitted
till I
to,
got caught. She's like,
yeah,
well, I caught you.
yeah, exactly. All right, that's good. I want to jump into your ideal client and the industry as a whole. So, I think, and not in a disrespect, but the sales coaching industry is vast. You have
Very.
Sandler, you have all these other, tools and individuals. So, talk to me a little bit about the competition you guys are facing. What makes you guys unique and different? Obviously, you mentioned one of the key components earlier on. And then if I were to say, Joe, I've got this customer who I think you're going to be great with, describe that person for us.
Okay. Let me start there. Typically, the people that I'm working with, again, I'm industry agnostic. I've got the better part of 400 people using freemium, everything from car dealerships to the largest tech brands on the planet, paying customized bills where we actually train the model for you and the user just needs to sit in. It's synced to a CRM, so they're just clicking the opportunity or clicking their calendar and getting all of that super personalized coaching. On that side, we're doing everything from facility services to medical devices to ed tech. Um, and being in market 8 months, I don't want to have the audacity to assume that I know what my ideal client looks like. I know the pains that they have. I also know realistically what I can support. Would I love to do business with IBM? Yeah. Am I going to die on the launch pad when they hand me their technical requirements? For sure. Um, I'm looking at organizations that have between 200 to 1,000 employees, sales teams ranging as little as 5 to as many as 50, and are struggling with day to day reinforcement on their training. And I'm going to go back to that in a minute. Or have a leader that doesn't have the bandwidth to provide the personalized coaching that everybody needs. So, my first point when I mentioned training, and you said something about Sandler. Sandler is a trainer. They're going to come in and talk to a group of 50 people about one issue in a very general sense. Let's talk through objections and the typical objections that you see, or the questions to ask when an objection is presented to you. And those 50 people take it however they want. But a coach needs to go into each of those 50 individuals and reinforce that training. And anybody who's ever been in, when I say sales coach, I'm talking about a frontier, front line sales leader. You're running an SDR team. You're running a group of BDRs. You're in charge of a team of AEs. You are their sales coach. And if you don't believe that, you're in the wrong line of business and you are damaging lots of careers. So it's not something to be taken lightly. Um, the coaching comes in that each of those 50 individuals, it's different strokes for different folks. And if you're a sales leader with 8 guys, gals, dogs, cats, whatever, giving them the coaching that they need on a weekly basis, assuming that your research, which could be tens of hours per rep, is accurate and you've actually caught the issue and know how to coach for it, you're talking about dozens of hours a week. I replace that. What I do that the others don't is give each of those individuals the personalized training they need based on what their deals tell us they need. Because we're synced to their CRM, we're synced to their enablement. We know that Billy couldn't open a window with a brick. He can get that guy right to the promised land. But when it comes time for getting the order, he's dead on arrival. Not you, Billy, the other
Yeah,
Billy.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Sally might have an issue in presenting that unique value proposition in the first place. She can get that initial buy in, she can get that first spark of trust, but she can't move it along. So the coaching that these individuals are going to get around objections are going to be vastly different. And the role plays that they sit to are going to be vastly different. And because it's a tool that was actually built by sellers, I've removed the I don't want to do it, it's too hard quotient to use. I've made this simple, stupid, Forrest Gump proof, both for the user and for their manager. Because their manager just needs to click on Billy's icon, see all of the coaching, see how you're improving, get basic, very easy to digest reporting on here are Susie's problems, here's where she's improving, here's where she's still pooping the bed, here's what you might want to do on your one on one with her. And for the orgs that don't even have the bandwidth for that, it's Billy can't get on the phone today until the 3 calls that he has scheduled on his calendar have each had 3 role plays apiece. And I need to see an improvement between each one, or I'm going to take Billy's deal and give it to Susie or hop on that call myself.
Very cool.
That way, you never have to write that PIP in the first place. And I posted about that recently. If you're writing a PIP, you are writing a eulogy for a career you killed, because you're not taking the time early to make sure that they're getting the coaching, not the training. Training's the easy part. Sit down, watch this. Today we're going to talk about what you learned in regards to our features and benefits. Billy, if somebody has this problem, what's the feature you're going to share? What's the benefit of that to the challenge they solve for? It's easy peasy. That's product knowledge. That's content. What separates Dextago is we coach for context and influence and how to move that deal along properly, of when the advocates are needed, how to build a champion, how to influence those individuals to move that deal along accordingly, which is something my competitors don't do, because they've never had to lose a deal, they've never not hit quota, they've never been ghosted, or have somebody come in at the 9th hour and say, hey, we're going to change all of these things up. Now we really want to discuss this and we're interested in that. Oh, we've got a competitor that we've been talking to for the last 6 months. Sorry, we never told you, but they're coming in 30% cheaper. One's built for pros, one's built for pretenders.
Nice. I like
The
it.
only thing my competitors have that I don't is funding and a 2 year ramp and a 2 year head start. If you look at my posts, a lot of them recently have memes of one guy racing past another.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. So, um,
Threw a lot at you there, huh?
yeah, no, you absolutely did. I'm running through all the questions. I guess let's talk about the industry then. Where is this industry headed? Or maybe more personalized, where's Dex to go headed in the next, I hate saying 5 years, but 1 to 3 years.
So, unlike our competitors who envision themselves as a sales coaching organization, we envision ourselves as a marketplace for coaching of all kinds:
Okay.
leadership, HR. We're building out use cases now with organizations outside of or disciplines outside of sales, because they need coaching as well. Academics that are now in charge of, say, running a team for a corporation and need to learn how to effectively manage that and be the advocate for their careers, those individuals need coaching. Or
Yeah.
academics on how to speak to those in a corporate setting need that. HR leaders, how to build up leaders, how to coach people to become coaches, how to train trainers. You mentioned the discipline of training or coaching, and in the next 2 to 3 years, um, should all go well, we're more of a marketplace for their coaching.
Okay.
Um, and not just as here's the AI bot version of myself that ChatGPT created for us. It actually is an S, so I'll put it there. This is what ChatGPT created for me over a half an hour. This can sell as better, as good as anybody. This can, build your leadership as good as anybody. Here's what it can do. That's what it does.
I like the marketplace concept. Because I think if you have the right mindset for coaching, you can apply it across any practice, any skill set. It's a matter of, I would assume, asking the right questions, um, the knowing the right environment, right? And I would say that a lot of what you do on the sales side from a coaching perspective is transferable to other industries. So it makes sense to
Yep.
become a marketplace. Um, yeah,
And
actually,
also, we look at ourselves outside of tech. A lot of our competitors, like, we're sales, we're tech only. Great. Own that dumpster fire of, you know, the average time in your chair of 18 months and massive churn and all sorts of things are outside of sellers' control that dictate whether or not they have a job. I'll take Billy. Why am I keep using the Billy today? I'll use Timmy selling Mercedes any day of the week over a guy that's a Salesforce partner living in a myriad swamp of nonsense and BS. If
yeah,
somebody told me that I can sell and never have to go to LinkedIn again, bye bye. I'll start
yeah,
you with a good time.
yeah. Um, so from a growth and scale perspective, how are you guys growing right now? What is your typical sales and marketing process or tactics? And then I would say two veins to talk about. How about like strategic partnerships? Is that a successful mode of growth for you guys? And then, as you and I discussed a little bit before, what are some of those failures? Like, I want to learn from what didn't work as well.
So I'd say we're still in a very strong founder led motion.
Yeah,
Um, the co founder, Ioana Onasi, has spent the last 2 years learning from a lot of great sellers and a lot of great people in the industry, exposing the organization, even in its nascent stages, to a lot of individuals that now, over the last year and a half, can appreciate that this is actually something that can have a substantial impact on revenue because we have the data to support ramp up times being 30% less, speed to that first deal being 20% quicker, shortening sales cycles, helping with churn. So it's still, I would say, a fairly strong founder led motion. I've got the better part of 16 or 17,000 followers and connections, the majority of which are in sales or marketing or are 1 to 2 degrees of separation from my ICP, which are sales leaders, enablement leaders, HR leaders, learning and development leaders, um, even to an extent, C-level execs at smaller organizations that can pull the trigger after 3 conversations rather than a committee of 15 that need to listen to themselves about how important they are before they pull the trigger on something. No offense to any of the large committees I'm currently working with. Um, we do have a strong partnership motion. Is it as successful as I'd like to be? Certainly not. And I don't know why. Because I come to the table with not necessarily verbalizing quid pro quo, but I need help from you, but I'm willing to help you first.
mm,
Typically in the form of, do these 500 people in my network match your ICP, Billy?
right.
If they do, let's talk around some basic messaging that just spurns them to a conversation where you two can learn about each other. It's usually never mentioning your company, never mentioning any features and benefits, and just a dive of, hey, Billy's an idiot around this and would love to learn more. I really think that you're best suited to have a great conversation. And my network knows, because this is something I've been fostering for over a decade, that I'm not introducing them to a pitch slap.
Yep.
They know that this guy's going to have a conversation with me. And if they don't know, they could just go to my content and see it all the time that I am about conversations and not conversions.
Yeah. Yep.
What I don't get is that reciprocity. And maybe not to the extent, certainly not to the extent I do it. So every conversation I have with a partner, I take with a grain of salt. I make 10 introductions, you get 4 meetings, and there's nobody that a CRO of a Fortune 500 company can introduce me to in a sales capacity, even at your own company.
Mm.
Okay. I can go to bed with a clear conscience. I came to the table and I helped you. I do it now with no expectation other than you're going to disappoint me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have to believe, not even over my 35 years career in sales, but my 50 orbits around the sun, or 49 and three quarters, 49 and three quarters, um, that you do good and it'll come back. I have to assume that all the good that I put out there will come back. And the proof is in my content. If anybody thinks I'm talking out of my ass because my mouth doesn't know any better, I throw sellers on blast every day. I actually have nothing scheduled for the next 2 weeks because I'm trying to test some new things with LinkedIn in regards to my strategy, because my strategy is predominantly there.
Hmm.
Emails aren't working for me. A sales manager's not picking up anybody's call.
Yeah.
Like, you got to FaceTime them that you are their child and you are on fire for them to even consider picking up your call. So why play in a place where they're not opening the emails? It's a waste of my time. A 2% open rate does nothing for me. A 3% pickup rate on a phone call does nothing for me if 50% of the people I speak to never show up to that first conversation. What they all show up for, what does fill my calendar, is I'd like to learn about you. You don't pitch me, I don't pitch you. What inherently happens in the States is that it becomes a conversation around what you do.
Hmm.
And so now I can start to lay the seeds. Because even if you walk away from that conversation never going to talk to me about using my product, you are walking away with a freemium link. You are walking away with 5, 6 minutes of video that'll help you appreciate how to use the tool should you ever decide to.
Mm.
And a relationship with a guy who didn't push anything down on you.
I think you're onto something with that reciprocity point, because I love partnerships. And similar to what you just said is like, let's look at my Rolodex. Is there anybody here who you can help? Okay, let's make an introduction, right? And similarly, who can I help in your Rolodex? And it's like, if one person's excited and engaged in doing that, but the other's not, then it's obviously not going to be a good partnership. It's not a partnership at that point. So I am curious as to how to improve the interaction, the excitement, and that reciprocation, whether or not
I'd
it's
love to learn from you, Billy, because I
yeah,
honestly, I don't even, there are a few organizations that I am currently engaging for partnerships because I think that the better together story is perfect for the both of us.
yeah,
Now, and when I say I'm building partnerships. Before I did this, I was a managing director for a demand gen agency that focused a lot on the partnership function for tech companies. So I know the playbook.
yeah,
I know the playbook. And I've talked to the players in the field that build those playbooks to make sure that I'm taking this motion correctly. And I've made it easy for my partner to bring them to my attention, giving them the collateral, the messaging, the calendar links. You just literally need to copy and paste it. You don't even need to put in a name. I've created the messaging where it sounds great and you never have to say, "Hi, Billy. Hey, what's
yep,
going on? Was thinking about you early, blah, blah, blah." Whatever the message is, like, it's extremely organic, extremely receptive.
yeah,
I honestly don't know where I'm going wrong because I've got a very strong referral program. Um, it might be nobody wants to be the first in the pool, but I
yeah,
think I have a few that I've been working. The ones that don't want to play right off the first phone call are the ones I like to pursue because you
mm,
could tell that they're doing some research. They're not entirely sure of that better together story. You're having more substantial conversations around what a partnership would look like, which means you can set the expectation for what an expectation of what success looks like. These
yeah,
first calls, yeah, I can't wait. Send me something. I'll sign it right now. Great. You're as useless as a blind chauffeur because
right,
you're not going to follow up with anything, or you're going to give me some fakakta excuse as to why you're not using the tool, or clearly demonstrate to me that you didn't listen to a word that came out of my mouth when we did discuss the tool. Because
Yep.
if I'm talking to you over the course of 2 to 4 hours over a 2, 3 week time span, and you come back with a question that I've answered 7 times in 4 or 5 different angles, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
I don't have the
Yeah.
patience for it. Um, but I've only been driving revenue 100% of the time. I think today is 102 days. So I don't know what works and doesn't work yet. And anybody who's telling you that after 100 days is talking out of their ass because their mouth doesn't know any better.
Sure. Sure. No, that's good. I think I think you and I should have a follow-up call. I think we can figure something out. But that said, this has been good.
I
I've
ran
had
out of connection requests this week. It's been a heavy prospecting week. So you got to find Joe Fontana, the Ted Lasso of sales. You can't miss it. It's right in
easy.
the profile. And yeah, I'm down to clown.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I didn't prep you for this, but I got one final section. It's called the lightning round. I'm going to ask you just a couple random questions. You're going to answer quickly, easy. First thing that comes to your mind. So, you ready to do it?
Here we go.
All
R
right. First
rated
one.
lightning round.
Yeah, exactly. It's whatever rating you would like to put on it. But the first one's the most difficult. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Yeah, I figured that one. What's one
That's the
tool or
difficult one? Hold on
yeah,
one second.
I'm just kidding.
That was going to be easy
What's
then.
yeah, what's the one tool or system that you use that you rely on to keep your organization running smoothly?
Me.
Cool. Favorite
Wonderful
book,
tool.
podcast, or resource that's influenced you the most?
This podcast. Um, as far as book, it's the book I give to every rep on day one. OG Mandino is the greatest salesman in the world. If
Cool.
you've never read it, it's this big. There's like a 80-page story about how this kid gets his hands on these sales scrolls. I've had the book for 40 years. I've never read the story. It's not worth the time. There are 10 scrolls that this kid is given that he has to read 3 times a day for a month. You don't have a year to read this book. So it's 3 times a day for a week. But each of those scrolls is going to set the foundation for the armor of your sales career. Talks about motivation, resilience, the fact that it is a rejection based business. So take the scroll, read it 3 times a day, out loud if you can. At one point during the week, take out some lined paper. This is what paper looks like. This, although this is not
Believe
lined,
it or not. Yeah.
and a pen. Here is a pen. The pen puts things on the paper like
Oh,
that,
fascinating.
and write out that scroll and read it again. In 10 weeks, you will have everything you need to go out and kill, or at least the foundation to be a killer. I call it basic training of sales.
I love it.
So you're not learning anything intricate. You're not learning anything that's actually get you out and have a pitch. But when it comes time to learn all those things, you will have the mindset and the constitution to go out and get it done. True story.
Good stuff. All right. What's one bucket list item you've already checked off?
One bucket list item I've already checked off. I guess all of them. They're really, the only one I have left is getting a car to 170 miles an hour, but just about everything else.
It's good. All right. So that kind of answers the last question or one of the last questions. What's one goal you're still working on? So you need to get that car to go 170.
Yeah, another goal I would say is to get this company to some good revenue where I can sell off into the sunset.
I like it.
I don't do this for money. I am extremely impressed with the background my CEO, Yuana, brings to the table. She's 27. I mean, my career in sales is older than her. Um, and I have worked with some of the biggest and best CEOs of the last 50 years, including Steve Jobs. And I would put her on the Mount Rushmore of leaders. I don't think she gets the support that she needs. I'll That's my hill and I'll fight on it. Every advisor and investor can tell me otherwise. Um, but that's only because of the expectation I have for her. So you can't
Yeah.
do enough when it comes to showing up for her.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's got game and deserves to have somebody that can at least get the ship in the water and getting it moving in the right direction. Um,
That's good.
So yeah, if anybody wants to talk sales coaching, you know where to find me. It's Joe Fontana, Ted Lasso of Sales. Um, my offer, like I said earlier, help anybody that Billy needs. Billy, I don't think I can connect with you on LinkedIn because I used all my connection requests. But I'm going to share something with you, and any of your listeners that ping me, I'll do the same. I will share with you a link to the freemium version of Dextago.
Cool.
So it's got all of the bells and whistles outside of it being able to sync with a CRM. And I'll also share about 15 minutes of video with you and with them that teach you on how to coach the tool because it's like a real coach. The more
Sure.
information you give it, the more you talk about what it is you're selling, who it is you're selling to, what your sales methodology looks like, the better prepared for the coaching it will be to deliver to you.
That's good.
So I'll get that to you once we're connected. Any of your listeners that reach out and mention, hey, heard you on Billy's podcast, I'll do the same for.
That's awesome. I appreciate that, Joe. And that brings us to the end, which has been a wonderful conversation. I've enjoyed and appreciated your time. For everybody else, that's a wrap of this episode of Scaling Smart. I'm your host, Billy Mitchell, and I want to thank you for tuning into the Scaling Smart podcast, where we have conversations with real people who have real stories who have learned how to scale smart.